It is time for our technology and the world of technology. We welcome back this morning Steve Fong, technical consultant with Media Support International, MSI. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Had a good weekend?
Yeah.
Any technology involved?
Quite a lot.
Quite a lot. You just live and breathe technology?
So it may seem.
Okay, all right. We won't try to pry any more into your personal life. But let's start off with our app of the day. Which app are you featuring today?
Well, it's an app called Viber.
Viber?
Yeah, and I must apologize to the BlackBerry users. I don't have an app for them today, but this one is for the iPhone and Android.
I just heard a loud groan all over Barbados.
Yeah, this is for the budding iPhone and Android community. It's a nice app called Viber. It basically allows you to speak to each other as you would over the phone, but for free.
For free?
Yeah, and you can talk and text. You need to be on a Wi-Fi or a 3G connection. And since we have 4G coming and we have 11.11.11 free Wi-Fi, you'll be able to communicate with your friends and save a lot of money.
So for those people who are like pay as you go, that might come in a little bit handy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, come in handy for everyone actually, because even the bill phones are still on your minutes. So you save some minutes by using Viber.
Okay.
See, I don't really count that as saving, because you already have to pay for that anyway. You know, like what I would like the phone company to do is if you travel for like 2 weeks or something in a month, I would like them to say, well, since you were away, we give you, something because you weren't here. But that's a different story.
Clearly, that is a concern for college.
Well, we can hope they're watching and they hear you.
Yes. Are you listening? Yeah. So Viber, it sounds like, Caribbean in its title, or like, we just holding our vibe.
Just vibing.
I'm not sure the influence behind the naming of it, but it's a fairly new application and it's very popular. Just both persons need to have it installed, and they appear on your address book. There's no need to log in or anything, so you just pick it up, press their name, and you're good to go.
Okay. So what phone is the phone to go with based on how things are going? I've heard comments like with 4G and all that. Well, what place will there be for the Berry? Is that the case? What do you say?
I personally think someone is going to buy RIM before the end of next year. They are kind of behind in terms of technology, but they are caught up with the new devices. They put them. They're on par now. They're not too far behind, but RIM still has a firm foot in the market. The iPhones and the Androids are leading the market right now.
Right.
So they would be the market leaders in terms of technology and features. But the Microsoft Windows phones are quickly catching up.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking that RIM probably should concentrate on those mass markets. I mean, the Caribbean is not that big, but we have a diaspora and a lot of Caribbean people use the RIM technology, but that's another story again. But game and application development, we were looking at ways that Caribbean people could perhaps get in on this whole technology thing. You want to talk about game and application development?
Yeah.
Can we start from that point of view?
Oh, definitely.
I know we talked about your game that you just something that you worked on, but is that something that more people in Caribbean should be focusing on?
Well, definitely. It's where the world is going. It's how a lot of overnight millionaires are appearing. You create an application, you put it in the market, you either put a small charge. If it's good, people will download it, try it, and you may get lucky. You could get 1 million downloads overnight. And it may be a product that is, unlike traditional markets, it's not something that you have a lot of overheads to produce. It's not something you have to put on a shelf. It doesn't have a shelf life. It can sit there in the market for 5 years and then just get discovered at that point in time, and you can make your money then. So once you create your application or your game and you put it out there, it's there forever.
Okay.
How much, are we talking about 2011 going into 2012, that sort of thing? How high-tech your game or application has to be for it to catch on? Do you have to be really, really into programming, or could you just do something that is, just for whatever reason, not really high-tech, but just catches the eye and it kicks off? Or is it a combination of both?
Don't have to be very high-tech at all. Actually, top-selling games or apps tend to be stuff that's very simple. If you could think Angry Birds, or there's one called Cut the Rope. And all you do in Cut the Rope is literally cut the rope.
That's it.
And this is a top seller. Within tens of millions.
People are really bored, aren't they?
People like to casually, if they're in a line or in the bank,
it's
commuting, just whip it out and
find something to do.
Yeah.
What are we seeing on screen here? Perhaps we can discuss some of these things? I just saw something called Battlefield.
Okay, well, Battlefield is, this will be more if you're talking about the really intense games, the studios that come and put a lot of money, probably like $4, $5, $6, $7 million into producing the title. Those are the high-end titles. The local gaming scene, which is what we're going to talk about, was about the actual consumers in Barbados that, you know, partake of the games. And they're synonymous with technology because the computer systems these guys are running are very high-end. They're top of the line. And as well, the community in terms of gaming in Barbados is not very recognized. When people think games, they think of kids, they think of a lot of violence. They don't think of it as an organized anything. But realistically, there are organizations in Barbados, the Caribbean Gamers Association, the Barbados Gaming Alliance, and then there are different teams in the island that compete internationally on tournaments all around the world.
I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know that our gaming community
a lot of
was that.
people are
But I was hoping we could look at your game. You know, I was hoping that
I brought a video.
you bought a video of it.
Yeah, definitely.
So do we have that video?
You have your own game?
Yeah, that's right. He has a, you know, race one. So
Cool.
we will get to that shortly. But gaming, like you said, the community in gaming usually, you know, high-speed computers and stuff, you know, a lot of competition, a lot of talking and chatting between each other, people playing against each other online. We actually have that sort of thing.
Here in Barbados, there's a voice chat server has been running for the past 7 years. We've had teams that played against South Korea, which are the world champions. We've had people fly out to Martinique to compete in the world championships there. The World Cyber Games, which is like the Olympics for gaming, we've had people from Barbados travel there to compete in FIFA tournaments. And on the local scene, there are a lot of events that pop up, tournaments, cash prizes, every so often.
You've done any of the tournaments? Have you?
I do a show that covers these events. I also run the Caribbean Gamers Association, so we support the community in terms of giving them exposure and what's not. But personally, I don't hold any competitions because I like to compete.
Okay.
And this is your game, right? Race one.
Yeah, it's a very simple game. This is the first thing we did. We wanted to do a proof of concept per se, but still make something casual and catchy. So it's basically based on the concept of rally. You just do a couple laps around the track. You try to get the best.
Yeah, whoever was playing in the back wasn't that good. You know, they slide it over.
You ran off the track.
Yeah,
Definitely, but it allows a bit of competition because the people on Facebook that submit the scores and try to beat their friends' scores. And
so you have like a lot of people who've liked this game and on Facebook and who play?
Quite a few, yes. But there's one guy that has the top score. That's
it's not you?
No, it's not me. It's not me at all.
So you don't try to beat off the top score when you go on and see it?
I give up. I had the top score for a while, but yeah, some guys came on and they. Yeah.
But you don't mind that? Right?
I don't mind.
Yeah.
So do we have a lot of people, new blood, getting into this, thinking of going as far as designing games? What would you say to young people who may be thinking about it, but maybe thinking it's a little out of reach?
To be quite honest, you're going to have to, the young people, they're going to have to take the knowledge that you are getting from school, from programming and what's not, and then apply some of your own initiative, do some research, look for stuff online, and work with that from there, because you're not going to get this taught in schools per se on the level you want to pursue. So you're going to have to, you know, take what you have and
get
then
the basics and then go.
Right. So I was asking about the level of technology in the games, and I suppose the sophistication on it. And you were mentioning, and we just want to, because somebody is mentioning that, well, somebody looking at this game, I say, but that looks really simple. That looks almost like, you know, the early version of Pac-Man.
Yeah.
But there's a place for these sort of games.
Yeah, Pac-Man sold a lot on the iTunes, on the Apple App Store for the iPhone, iPad. They released a Pac-Man Anniversary Edition and it sold tremendously.
So even in this day and age when we're looking for like Battlefield and those sort of games, and the new one that was coming out the other day that had this advertisement that made it look like a movie, all those games, even in this day and age, we have these,
they're called casual games. It's a whole different market. The Wii probably would be the best example, the Nintendo Wii.
Yeah, because that graphic is pretty simple.
It's pretty simple, but it outsold the other consoles by at least 100 million, simply because the people that are playing games are not just kids. You're going to have some older people at work. There are a lot of people in Barbados that play Farmville, Mafia, Wars, all these little Facebook casual games. And it's the same concept. Very simple, very little amount of time needed, so you could do it in your lunch break, or if you alt-tab in between work when your boss isn't looking. That's the easy frustration or the stress of work. So a lot of people that you wouldn't expect to be playing games, play games. The #1 activity on Facebook is gaming.
So do you show people the legal ropes as well, your association, that is, if they decide, well, I want to design a game, I'm going to put it out there, do you walk them through the steps and things they need to pay attention to? Well,
definitely, we are here to help. So in terms of publishing, which is probably the more difficult part after you would have created your game, and the marketing aspect, because you want to get it out there for the world to see. It's going to be a product international. It's not just going to be a local product. Your biggest sales are going to come from the U.S. and the European markets. So you need the assistance in terms of marketing. So we definitely offer that.
Okay.
What is the best way to ensure that, when you put something out there and it goes all viral, that you end up getting the benefits from it?
Yeah.
Well, the best way to ensure is to be first. If you have an idea, you don't share it. You build your game, you get it ready, and then you get it published. Either you do it yourself or you get someone to help you and you get it out there. When you get out there first, people are going to see it and you're going to get your due recognition. But as with all games and apps, there are going to be a ton of clones. So you just have to make sure the quality of your game and the timing is perfect. So there are a lot of copies of Angry Birds, or a lot of copies of Cut the Rope. But the original titles, they maintain dominance because they were first, so they got the original surge of downloads. So people will see, well, hey, this one has 1 million downloads, this one has 100. So you go with the one for 1 million. And as well, the quality. So the clones will tend to be cheap knockoffs, at least you hope.
And you can't do anything about those at all?
No, there's not really any enforcement in terms of patents for video game ideas or concepts. If it was hardware or something, you would have a better legal stance. But for video game concepts, there's not much stuff you can do legally.
Okay.
And how do you set up and make sure that you get money from it, rather than just putting it out there and then next thing you know, you put it out and because it's free, 1 million people download it and you go, shoot, I should have charged at least 50 cents for that.
Or do you just want the exposure?
Well, not necessarily.
The goodwill, what is it?
You want to get paid for your work, but actually the best way for, which is a business concept where you don't charge your users, you get advertisers.
Oh, okay.
So basically you give away your app to users for free. They're going to be happy to get it. And advertisers are going to want to be able to advertise to the people you have download your app. So you put simple ads. There are systems in place that you could just put the ad on your game, not too intrusive, and for each ad that a person looks at is 5 cents US. Each ad they click is 15 cents US. So there's a possibility if you have 1 million people playing your game for you to make a nice amount of money.
A nice penny. Okay.
You have contributed a lot of 5-cent pieces. What are we looking at now? This EA is one of the biggest game makers, right?
Yeah, biggest game makers in the world. This will be the Caribbean Gamers Association website. Just recently relaunched.
Oh, so yeah. Well, what was the URL for this site?
It's www.cgagame.com. And it has it basically hosts the same show that I speak of that I do for the gamers as well. We do a lot of original content. A lot of gamers submit their gameplay videos. We support all the local teams in Barbados as well as in the other Caribbean islands. We're working towards an event called the Caribbean Cyber Games, which will be our own little
Olympics.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
So yeah, I was
tomorrow. What's the Big Apple Day tomorrow? What is that about?
Well, a lot of Apple people are smiling and constantly bugging me about tomorrow.
Mac people. Yeah, what's about it?
Tomorrow is the Apple press conference announcing the new iPhone. It's a pretty big deal for a lot of people. We're not sure if it's going to be iPhone 5 or iPhone 4S or both. There are a ton of rumors out. We don't really know what's happening, but it's going to be a pretty big event. They sent out their invitations today. I know a lot of people are going to be streaming it live, and a lot of people are excited to hear.
Didn't they lose the prototype for this? Somebody lost it in a bar again, like they did something. You think that was intentional?
I think they like to drink. That's the best way to put it, because they'll always lose it, and then they always kick down someone's door to get it back.
Right.
So that tends to be an Apple trend.